another of my very simple seafood dishes, and this one is called Andalusian Prawn and Spring Onion Fritters. First of all, the prawns. These are just common garden prawns, and in all these recipes I've tried to, wherever possible, get the sort of ingredients that you can get in supermarkets. And I'm cutting them into sort of ½ centimetre slices. So there's my prawns ready. Now to make the batter, the fritter batter. First of all, through a sieve, just so I get plenty of air. I've got about 90-100 grams of plain flour and about ¼ teaspoon of baking powder and about ½ teaspoon of salt. Sieve that through. The point of sieving it through is to get lots of air into the batter, but also to remove any possible lumps. Bit of pepper in there now. Put that in afterwards, obviously, because it doesn't go through the sieve. And now some liquid, so just make a little bit of a well in the middle of there and add about 150 millilitres of water, but I don't add the total amount until I see how thick or thin the batter's going to be. And just as a sort of general tip, one flour is always not quite the same as another, so it's always best just to leave the last bit of liquid for the last minute. So I'm looking for really quite a thick batter, just a tiny bit thicker than pancake batter, but one that will flow across my pan when I get to cook it, because I'm going to make sort of equivalent of drop scones with this. Oh gosh, I just remembered, I just need a little slug of wine. The recipe says white wine, but any wine. This is just a nice bottle of rosé, which unbelievably I didn't manage to finish. I don't quite know why. But just a little tip there is don't throw away your old sort of half-finished bottles of wine. Okay, there's the batter made. Now into that I'm going to put my prawns, like that. And now I'm going to add parsley and spring onions, so just a bit of a rough chop. So that's all the chopping I need to do. So into my batter mix goes there. And now some spring onions, and I'm just going to thinly slice these. This should make about 6 to 8 nice fritters. And I like to serve them, if I've got time, as a little snack with them, beers and things. But you can do them as a starter as well. There we go, into the spring onions. So now a bit of a stir. So, olive oil in pan. So just going to bring that up to heat now, and I could sing you a song while I'm waiting for this to happen, but probably I won't. And what I'm looking here for is shimmering heat in this olive oil. In other words, it doesn't want to be like smoking, but it wants to be really, really hot. But basically the temperature I'm looking for is about 160 to 180 degrees centigrade. So that means when I drop the prawn fritters into there, it will start to cook instantly. So they're looking good. So I think we can do about 4 at a time, realistically. Don't overcook them. I mean, you want a nice golden brown, not so dark brown, because then they're just too cooked. So I would guess, looking at them now, about another 3/4 of a minute would be fine. I really like these. First tasted them in Seville, I think it was Seville. They're lovely, the sort of things you get in tapas bars. Really good tapas bar is a mixture always of things that have been previously cooked, but also 1 or 2 real sort of hits which are cooked there and then, which just make the whole thing come alive. That one looks good, and I think we're just about ready to start turning now. Yes, that's lovely. Just cooking these just thinks about the next garden party I'm going to have, because I just think these are the sort of things that are memorable at sort of open air parties. So now on this side I'm going to just drop the temperature a little bit, because they are getting a bit wild and furious. And I'm going to give them about another ½ a minute, because most of the cooking is done on the other side, on the first side. Okay. Just going to put a tiny bit more water in the second batch. I just thought the batter was ever so slightly too thick. What I'm looking for is a bit of lacing on the side, which you'll get if the batter's a bit thinner. So there we go. That's better. So what I mean by lacing is that round the side, you see, so when the batter's quite thin, like you get with ordinary pancakes, it sort of gets a bit sort of, well, lacy really. Oh, look at that, that's exactly the right amount of brownness I want. And also, Yeah, they're nice and lacy, this batch. Okay, there we go. Do you know what? I could just nip out to the garden now, sit down, look at the trees, and just think, what could be better than that? Well, cold beer, of course.